Okay. Yeah, I got hello everybody. My name is Scott McCrae, Shaklee ambassador here in Lakewood, Colorado, and I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing tonight with Albert and Lori Ramos, who are some Shaklee superstars in the company. We want to hear about their story and a little bit about their mindset, their philosophy, where their background was at the time they were introduced to Shaklee, and a little bit of their whole life story and how it revolves around the Shaklee opportunity and our products. So welcome, you two. Thank you for being on for this call.
Well, thank you, Scott. Thank you for inviting
Thank
us.
you.
And Rick and Aldana, thank you for inviting us as well. We've been looking forward to this since we got off that Alaskan cruise. And we were just always talking about it, say, okay, what are we going to say? What kind of message are we going to give out there? And so when you say our history, right, our lifetime history, that this meeting might take 3 or 4 hours.
That's okay. Well,
So, we don't want to do that, especially on a Zoom. But we are excited to be here. I don't know.
Yes, oh, definitely. Thank you so much for the honor to be here and share with you guys a little bit about our story.
Well,
great.
So go ahead, Scott.
Yeah. Last questions. I'll give a little bit of context to how this all kind of came about. I got to meet Albert and Lori just recently for the first time. That wasn't sitting in the nosebleed section of a conference, seeing them walk across stage and talk and all that. To meet them in person on a cruise ship of all places in the middle of the ocean in Alaska. So we had a good sit down, just the three of us in a little room that was one of the workout rooms on the ship, and we just had a wonderful conversation about all kinds of things. So I have some notes that I took from that day. I'm going to reference those. So if I look down, that's what's going on there. We talked a little bit about your backstory when you two both first met and married. You were already entrepreneurs in your own right. Could you give a little illustration of that?
We got married 42 years ago, I might add. Soon to be 43 in November. And I just want to say we got married, and within 6 months, we just had that
entrepreneurship
spirit, right? You might say. And so you might find that Lori and I will finish each other's sentences. That's what happens after 42 years, right? So, but I just want to say that within 6 months, we opened 2 businesses, and we've never looked back. But those businesses, not at that time. Not at that time. We were Shaklee users. We were Shaklee distributors, but we were just doing it part-time. Just if we found a client, we found a client, but we weren't really paying too attention, especially when starting up 2 businesses at the time. And so we worked hard, the American dream, work hard. And we found out we were more married to our businesses than we were to each other. Mm-hmm. And then something happened that, I guess we did plan that we wanted to have a family. But by the time our 3rd child arrived, we started looking at each other and saying, well, this is not what we had in mind when we're working 7 days a week. We had a nanny that took care of the kids. The nanny saw our kids more than we did. And Lori came to me one day, and what did you say?
Well, I was looking to see more freedom, more time with the kids. So we talked about it, and the best way to go was Shaklee. It was in front of us. And back then, you didn't hear too much about staying at home moms and running a business. But that's what we did. I wanted more freedom, more time with the kids. I want to be part of their lives, part of everything that they did. So Shaklee was the venue.
Yeah, so we'll even backtrack a little more. I come from a Shaklee family. My mother started a Shaklee business in 1971, 54 years ago.
You're a Shaklee baby.
So I'm a Shaklee kid, right? I was a preteen or a teenager at the time. And that's when I started using the Shaklee products. So I've been using the Shaklee products for 54 years. And so we saw that. I said, well, my parents always had an in-home business. And I talked to Lori about it. Why don't we consider a Shaklee business? We're distributors. We know the product. When Lori married into our family, there was no other choice, she had to take Shaklee. That was pretty evident. And but she, you know, but she fell in love. She was more in love with the products than, let's say, even I was, right? And so we started looking at it, and she said one thing, that I just want to be home when my kids get home from school. And so that was important to her, to be home. And so we said, okay, let's try this. So we sold one business. This is about 1993, 32 years ago. And we lived off the proceeds from that sale, and we started our Shaklee business in 1993, 32. That, I mean, when I say start our Shaklee business, a full-time Shaklee business with all the effort that's required. And in 1994, we were master coordinators. We were #1 in the country that year. And we really haven't looked back since. Though there's more to that story. I'm sure that you know that also as well, Scott, because we.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, I'm coming up with more questions than I am just using the ones that I have already. So there was a point in your relationship where you both committed to this business, and you just said that, you know, you worked it full time, like you need to. Could we take a moment and could you talk just a touch on what does that look like at that time in your life when you said we went full time?
Well, full time to us was just like any business you open, any business. If you want to be successful in business, you have to put the time and effort. And even though that business is an in-home business, you still have to put in the hours, and you have to have the schedule. You have to set your goals, just like we did with our other businesses, to be successful. And the business we sold was a very successful business. It still exists in the same location today, you know, many decades later. So that was a business that we got started. We always felt that that business was a great business, but it was a business that required 7 days a week. And so we didn't want that. That was not the lifestyle that we wanted for our family. And so
people get worried about the talent, right? If I have the talent to do this business. I was a very shy person. And so, but I think more than the talent is the work ethics that you put into your business and being consistent. I think that's the main thing for us, to be consistent. Don't throw the towel when things don't come out, you know, the way you want them to come out. And so
and many of you have seen Lori on stage, right? And so, but what did you tell me when we decided to
full business, but don't ever ask me to be in front of people. Like talk in front of people, and then there I was talking in front of hundreds of people.
Throughout our decades in Shaklee, Lori's been on stage without me sometimes. You know, I remember when you introduced Infusel, right? Was it Infusel? That's quite a few years ago. So now fast forward, you know, we could talk about our past, and the past is fantastic. Great memories with so many wonderful people. But we carry forward, because we feel that we're only halfway through our Shaklee career, which is about 32 years. We really are planning the next 32, 35 years.
Hey, Albert, I don't want to interrupt, but I think this is an important thing for people to hear from you know, the person, the people who did this. You were able to get a master coordinatorship in place and be #1 in the company, the entire company, in 1994. That's a short period of time to create such a large organization and have that kind of success. But you did that for a very important purpose, and that's, I wanted to make sure you had a chance to touch on what that meant to your family, having that business built and the time that you were able to take advantage of because of that.
Well, I was always a numbers person, so I studied the numbers, and I always focused on one thing, and one thing was that residual income. And I felt that Shaklee gave us that opportunity, where if we built a large organization, a large team, that Shaklee will continue to pay us for many, many years and decades to come. And so in the 90s, middle 90s, we just put a lot of work, and I'm not going to say it wasn't challenging, because it was. It was, you know, that means weekends, nights. So there's weeks we had meetings every single night, with either in a large meeting or a small meeting.
And we call it the 7 pillars of longevity, but in your business, because there's longevity, health, when it comes to health, but in your business, you want it to last a long time.
Well, why don't I tell? I'm going to let you guys know what we feel are the 7 pillars of longevity, because that's the big, word right now, longevity. Dr. Shaklee started this longevity craze, almost 70 years ago. I feel that with 100% certainty that he started the longevity craze. And so now it's a big, word. And so, but we're going to tell you what our 7 pillars of longevity are. And you probably might have heard them before, but we always feel eat right. Longevity to health, by the way. Eat right.
Oh, I was going to talk about business.
Well, we are. Dr. Shaklee said, you are what you eat. It's as simple as that. We can't get any simpler than that. You are what you eat. And so, and I just saw somebody taking the Shaklee shake, so I know what that person is. There you go. Good job there, Ryan. 2, exercise. Lori and I believe in exercise. Scott mentioned that he met us in the gym on the cruise ship. If you want to talk to Lori and Albert Ramos on any trip, just go to the gym in the morning and you're going to see us there. And you can talk to us because we're happy to talk to anybody during convention time or any of the Shaklee trips. Proper nutrition and supplementation is the 3rd pillar. And of course, what kind of supplementation? Shaklee supplementation, right? Don't forget Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn's landmark study, the famous landmark study, is a great piece to go to when you talk about why is supplementation with Shaklee such a large pillar to longevity. And then, of course, stress management, right? And if you have a lot of stress in your life, I got some great products for you that I can offer to you to control that stress. Social connection. Why don't you talk about social connection?
Social connection. We always talk about social media and building your business through social media. You gotta be the billboard, right? You gotta be the example of what your products do for you. So but not only social media, you have to have the connection with people, because a lot of people think, oh, I'm gonna run my business through social media 100%. That's a little bit to me. It won't work the way you want it to work. It has to be both, the connection with people.
But it keeps you socially connected. They say as you age, you need to be socially connected with other people. Joyce Hoffman, she's still socially connected, right? I've never seen someone in her 90s so socially connected as she is. She was wonderful when, we got to spend some time with her on this Alaska trip. And then, of course, sleep. Good sleep habits are so important. We recommend 6 to 8 hours a day. And that's one of the first questions I ask, a future prospect or a future client. How many hours of sleep do you get? And once again, we have some great products for that too, don't we? And then, of course, we talk about, don't smoke, drink moderately. Lori and I believe that as we get older, we've never smoked. And then we really only drink when we were on vacation. That's it. First, remember that, Adana? Prosato. She said it so differently. I like the way her So, but that now takes us to the 7 pillars to longevity
to your business.
In your business. You guys want to hear about that?
Absolutely.
Because the Ramos family has been in business, a Shaklee business, for 54 years. There's not too many businesses that can say that. By the way, 54 years that the Ramos family has received a monthly check from Shaklee every 15th of the month. Now, for decades now, we've gone in 2, because my brother Ken, who's on the call, who's still running the family business, a master coordinator, that's the family business still going. Lori and I are separate. We have our own business. So 54 years of owning your own business, running it from your home, because we have never run our business outside our home. And during COVID, people would say, hey, well, how do you do it? Did you like staying at home? Everything. I said, wait a minute, we've been here for decades running our business from our home. What are you guys talking about? This is easy. This is great. And so, but here are the 7 pillars to longevity in your business. Number 1, have the right mindset, right? Lodi, why don't you talk about that?
Well, the mindset, you have to be goal-oriented. You have to want to grow. And in our business, since the very beginning, we have been very, very goal oriented. And I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to mindset, growth, goal oriented. What else can you say?
Creativity.
Creativity, that's right.
Always have a positive outlook, right? And so we had, like, everybody say, well, why did you grow so fast? Well, the reason we did, we got to Foundation Club in that year, 1994 as well. That was a goal we set. We wanted to be Foundation. Why? Because we looked up on stage and we said, wow, this Foundation Club, look at all those people up there. Wow, that's impressive. And that was one of our goals. Foundation Club back then used to be 50 supervisors that did 3,000 PG a month, and you maintained them every single month to hit Foundation Club for a year.
Pretty challenging.
Yeah, that was challenging, but we set that as a goal. And our secret weapon was that we already knew how to get a business started and built and then make it grow. And nothing was scarier than when we started, we were just kids. Like Lori, what were you, 22, 23? I was 25, 26 when we started our first business. Our rent for one of our businesses was $3,000 a month. This is 1984. And by the way, I'll tell you how much we made the first day we opened for business. $15.16. I'll never forget that. $15.16, and our rent was $3,000 a month. We were profitable within 3 or 4 months.
A bigger reason.
Yeah, that's a risk, right? We thought a Shaklee business, wait a minute, we don't have to pay rent, we don't have employees. It's just you and I, we control our destiny, and we're working from home.
No brainer.
The world was ours. And now we're in our 30s. We have a little bit more, you might say, experience, right? The ups and downs of running a business. So that's why we knew what we had to do, and we just went out and did it. So that's number one, having the right mindset. 2, consistency. You have to have a business for decades and decades and decades. You have to have consistency.
More than talent.
More than talent. Talent wanes away. You can only have so much talent. Ask any Major League Baseball player or football player, how long does talent last? It only lasts for a certain period of time, right? Some sooner than later. But with consistency means you follow up.
You got to stay consistent on the ups and the downs if you want to get ahead in this business, because you are going to have those ups and downs. But if you're consistent, you're going to go through them. And
so then also we learned at a young age, great customer service means return customers. And many of you wouldn't be in Shaklee business today if you didn't offer that great customer service. We've been talking to our group for 10 years now about building a consumer base, building a huge consumer base. And why? Because it keeps you in the game. And then once you build a consumer base, you can teach others and not form a team. Once you form a team, then you form an organization, because it doesn't go form an organization first and then try to figure out how to build a consumer base later. How are you going to teach your team to form a consumer base? And so now, especially with the new Shaklee sales plan, what do we all need to have?
A consumer volume.
Consumer base, right? And so that's number 3. Number 4 is always prospect. Always prospect. Whether you're looking for ambassadors or you're looking for client members, you're always prospecting, because people need us more today than ever before. Number 5, be flexible. Be ready to pivot. Be adaptable, right? Or not
coachable.
Yeah, and then coachable, yes. Right? Because that's so important. Then this might be the most important one, because you see Lori's wearing her Shaklee jacket, and I'm wearing my Shaklee Letterman's jacket. Yeah. So you gotta be a walking billboard. Yeah. When we started, 30-something years ago, 35 years ago, we didn't have social media. So we had to be a walking billboard. We had to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And, I've always told I'm not sure that, I always tell my church, do as I say, not as I do, right? But in Shaklee, they have to do as you do. You have to lead from the front. And the way to do that is you have to be a walking billboard. And today with social media, we can reach thousands of people every day with the post that's Lori's department, by the way, posting on social media, right? And you were talking about social media, right?
You have to be consistent. You can't just post one post a month and expect, people to follow you or to look for you. You have to be consistent.
That's right. So that's what Lori does. And number 7, the old 3 famous words. I'm not sure who invented these words. Probably Dr. Shaklee, but use, share, build. That's never changed. We will never change that as long as Lori and I are in Shaklee, right? Which will be till the end of our lives. And now it's easy to share with social media. Using the product, of course, that's the easy part. You got to use the product, because if you don't use the product, how are you going to talk about the product? All right. And I always remember how Dr. Shaklee went and visited Al Hagerman, and Al Hagerman became a director selling just Basic H. And he flew into Minnesota and he sat down in front of Al and said, Al, you're doing great. Well, what about the rest of my products? He wasn't selling anything else. And so he went up to tell him, hey, we got all these other great products too. And then the Hagermans skyrocketed from there, because they're sharing products that are more consumable than, how long in those days it was a gallon, how long a bottle of Basic H lasts, right? It lasts forever. So use, share, build goes in that order, because once you use the product, you love the product, you share it with others, you start finding a team. Once you find a team, you start building an organization. And now through social media, it's so important. So those are our 7 pillars to longevity in your business. Go ahead, Scott. I know you have more questions.
Oh, burning questions. Yes. Well, one of the things you mentioned was you have a few people in your organization that have really taken advantage of the additional income earned through bonuses. Could you talk a little bit about that and share some numbers? You don't have to share names, but just to kind of give a view of what's possible with some of those things.
Well, once again, Lori and I, back when it was called Prove It Challenge and the $75, bonus, we call it the Star Club bonus now. And we really saw that was an incentive to make extra income on top of your PGV bonus, on top of your price differential. And then so you get this extra money called Star Club bonus. And we have really, really focused on that with our team. And we did it by example. So I'll just throw a number out to you. Look, Lori and I can throw you our number. I'm not going to share other names, but I'll tell you the numbers. But Lori and I are right around $18,000 to $20,000 just in Star Club bonus, a $75 bonus since it was implemented. But as a teacher, you always want your students to be better than you. We have somebody in our team that's over $35,000 right now in Star Club bonuses, and still kills every year. She's number 1 on the team because we recognize them for Star Club bonuses. Star Club bonus is just an incentive to put extra money in your ambassadors' pockets, because you don't have to be a director to get Star Club bonus. You could be an ambassador getting that extra $75. And that's a bonus why is that important? Because it leads to so many other things. First of all, it leads to increased sales, right? Second of all, it leads to more points for the VIP trips. So everybody that's doing Star Club bonus is earning the trips, because you do the other things as well, signing up ambassadors and all the other things involved. And then, of course, you get paid weekly. They love that part. Mm-hmm. Shoot, I like it when they throw that $75 into our checking account whenever we do a Star Club bonus. So somebody said that's what, 1,400 new clients? Roughly, yeah, I guess so, over the years. Well, somebody did the math really quick, but I love that. I'm a math guy. That's why I love
that. Sounds like something Ryan would do.
Yeah. Okay. There you go, Ryan.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Now, after your master coordinator, your first master coordinatorship run that you did, that enabled you guys to take some time off and do something with your family, which I wanted you to share a little bit on that. Well, I was touched by that.
We have 3 children. And so what we always felt is our 3 children are our most important first levels, right? And now we got some second levels. We got 5 grandchildren, 5 second levels there. But about 2001 or so, we said, okay, we worked really hard. We've worked hard. We've built this organization. Now let's see if this residual income is really true, that that have, advertised, spoke about everything, right? And so I said, okay, now we're going to spend time with them because they were in like middle school, junior high at the time.
Middle school, high school, yes.
And so I, as a father, said, well, now I got to be there in their formative years, which I thought were high school and college. And so we took what's called a sabbatical, which means we still ran our Shaklee business.
Yes.
We still got the checks every month. We just didn't do the meetings like we used to, like almost every night. We did some meetings, but they would have to come to our home to do, one-on-ones and things like that. But we still, had a big enough organization that created the income that allowed us to spend the time where we're both on the PTO. I was the Little League president. I was the basketball NJV president. We were the booster presidents in high school.
And sports.
We were actually the booster presidents in college too. And so the 1-2 year sabbatical turned into about 10 years, and the residual income kept coming and coming.
That's amazing.
Now, of course, it got a little bit less and less, every year, but that was okay because we knew we were sacrificing to make sure that our 3 first levels became outstanding human beings. And so that's what Shaklee created. And we still go on quite a few trips too, right? But then at a point we said, okay, we're not earning the trips because we're not working for the trips. And then that lasted till we almost became, about 10 years ago, empty nesters, because we're empty nesters now. But our last one, our youngest one, who's now 35, the baby, the baby of the family. And so we said, okay, now it's time to regenerate our business again.
And I think the second time around our goal is for our retirement. So we started being more active, and we have enjoyed it. So we like it. We have the freedom that we want to do whatever we want, to travel with or without Shaklee. And but it's fun.
But we like earning. We've earned every trip for the last 10 years because once again, we said, okay, when we go back into it, we're going to go full bore, and we haven't looked back. It's still another long-term play because I see things long-term, and I said, okay, let's go as hard as we can till I'm about 72. This was 10 years ago, so I got 6 more years. 6 more years.
I was gonna touch on that because you guys look so young and you act and behave so youthful that isn't it great to be able to earn the trips and actually go on them and enjoy them and run around rather than being wheeled onto a platform, at the ripe old age of 50. I mean, you guys look like you're in your 40s. So I think that's another benefit to the whole Shaklee lifestyle is, again, the longevity piece.
Longer.
Well, that's part of the longevity that we talk about, because longevity is not just living. We're all going to live a long life, guys, because we have the medical technology that does that for us. But what we teach in our team is not how long your lifespan is, how long will your health span be? And Lori and I teach this, that we want our health span to be 99 years of healthy living. And my goal is, both our goals, to live to be 100. Well, I'll be 100 and you'll be 96, right? So that means I got to live another 4 years for her to celebrate her 100th birthday, right? So I got to get to 100 for. But health span, how many years do you want to be healthy? And that's what we teach. We teach those with the 7 pillars of longevity in our team. So we teach that almost at every single meeting. And we've been talking about it before now. It's the big thing to talk about, right? Live age. We've been talking about it for, more than a decade. And the members of our team that are on this call know that we've talked about this. But I do remember one story, and Rick and Aldana, you're going to appreciate this one. Of course, and many of you probably remember Huey Peterson. Remember Huey and Betty Peterson, right? And I remember when we started in Shaklee, we were just 30-year-old snot-nosed kids, right? Looking up on stage, go, wow, look at those guys, right?
They look amazing.
These were our mentors, you might say. They became our mentors. But I always remember this speech from Huey Peterson. And Huey Peterson got up on stage and talked about why he was in Shaklee. And he said, look, he might have been about 70 years old at the time, and I'm nearing 70. So I remember the story quite well because it motivated me. And he said, I'm collecting Social Security now, but my Social Security money is my funny money. I do whatever I want with it. I give it to the grandkids. I go to a ball game. And he reached in his pocket and he pulled out a wad of bills, right? And I looked at that. I said, why can I do this? Because my Shaklee income more than provides for my retirement and our expenses in our retirement years. And I've never forgotten that story in 35 years, because now I feel Lori and I are motivated to make our Shaklee business grow and increase our consumer base. Why? Because we need our Shaklee income to stay with us through our health span, because we plan on living a long, healthy life, and to travel and do all the things you love to do, that Shaklee lifestyle that I'm talking about. Well, you need to be healthy. It's not easy to travel, guys, by the way, because you got to be in shape, to get off the plane, get on a ship, do this, do that. I mean, and go on tours. Yeah, we went to the Mendenhall Glacier waterfall. That was a 3-mile hike. And so those are the things you take care of your body for, to enjoy life. And then what greater benefit that you're still getting paid while you're traveling.
So you were talking about Social Security because you just got your first.
Oh, yeah, by the way, I just got my first check. I wanted to hold out, but I said, okay, when I got my first check, I thought of Huey Peterson, may he rest in peace.
That's funny money.
That's my funny money now, to do whatever I want to do with the grandkids, or maybe I'll take Lori out to dinner now and then, right?
That's fantastic. So, Lori, I think maybe it was Albert. I can't remember. When we were leaving, I spoke a little bit limited Spanish feebly, but you had said something that stuck with me when I left the gym there. You had said, Scott, don't be afraid to build a Hispanic market where you're at. And I'm like, never really thought about that. You have a huge influence over your market. You have the benefit of being fluent bilingually.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who speaks a little bit of Spanish and wants to maybe tap into the Hispanic market in their community? Do you have any advice on that?
Well, just like everybody, they're looking for a product like Shaklee for their health. They're in big need of something like we have with Shaklee. So don't be afraid to talk to them. And there's so many resources in the back office of Shaklee that you can use. And that's what we do. We talk to people everywhere we go. And
it doesn't matter the language. We have a large Cambodian team,
right,
a Filipino team, Thai.
And we don't know the language.
Korean. I have to call somebody in Shaklee that speaks fluent Korean for our Korean team. And so don't let language be a barrier. Right. It's 2025. All you got to do is Google it, right?
Right. Translate.
And
for sure.
And then everyone wants to live a long, healthy life.
Longer.
All human beings.
To be the product of the product. And they're going to ask you, what are you doing? You're 62 years old, but like you said, Scott, I look younger. And it's not by accident, but it's because I use the products. Use, share, build. It's a simple system that you can follow in any language.
I say this to our team, and our team, the members are will remember that I always talk about this. Investing in your health is like investing in your retirement. Mm-hmm. All of you invest in your retirement because you're all either investing in Social Security or some type of retirement, right? Am I correct? Mm-hmm. But how much are you investing in your health? Because I say this, the more you put in now, the more you can withdraw later. Mm-hmm. I know Rick and Aldana put in a lot because they're withdrawing now. Look how great they look, right?
Yeah.
So that's the key, putting it in. You have to invest in your health so you can withdraw later on in life.
And it doesn't matter the age or the time. If you're going to do it now. And then start investing in your health.
Absolutely.
I love that. We're We're at 33 minutes, but I want to go a little longer if you guys are okay with that, because I have
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're fine.
a couple more things. Number one, a question for you, and then I wanted to open it up for the group to ask any burning questions that they may have. But I had one question on here that I like to ask most of the master coordinators that have ever built a Shaklee business is, if you had to do it again, of course you would, but what would you do differently? Or were there any mistakes that you would be wiser to avoid? What do you think?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
huh?
it is a great
That-
question.
I got to think about, so things you want to avoid. I would think the thing I would want to do is to be better at something. And I think it's something that we all suffer from, the follow-up. I
Mhm.
wish I would have followed up on
Better.
on with more people that we've met through the decades. And Lori and I talk about follow-up. God, we've got to get better at follow-up. We got to get better. We're not anywhere close to being as good at follow-up. I think if we would have been great at follow-up, we probably would be senior master coordinators right now, or higher. But the key is in the follow-up to any business to have success.
Interesting. Okay, that's a fabulous answer. Lori, what would you say?
Caught up on the daily things that you have to do, but you have to save a little bit of time for growing your mindset, listening to podcasts, listening to audios, or whatever you want to listen, but to grow your mindset, it's super, super important, especially for a person like me that is shy. And I think that for me, that will be a change that I will do from the very beginning.
And I think the other thing I think we would have changed is we should have started in our 20s.
Yes.
We invested in those two other businesses, as was tens of thousands of more of investment. And I think that, wow, can you imagine if we would have started our Shaklee business when we just got married, I was 25 years old. Who knows what we would have attained? Because, when you're in your 20s, you don't care about making mistakes. That's one thing I want to tell. Don't worry about mistakes. We all make them. Just move forward, right? Just move forward and keep going, because we all make mistakes.
Don't let them hold you back.
Yeah, you learn from them and you keep moving forward. And when you're in your 20s, you seem to not really worry about mistakes like when you're in your 60s. Now we worry about mistakes. Like, God, I shouldn't have made that mistake, right? That I call it stupid tax. Don't pay that stupid tax, right?
Yeah, I've gone broke some years on stupid tax.
Oh my God.
Those are excellent answers. Thank you for that. Let's open it up to people on. If you want to unmute yourself and have a burning question, this is your opportunity to get it from Albert and Lori right now. If you have something on your mind.
I'll go ahead if no one else.
All right, Ryan, go for it.
Hey, Ryan.
How's it going? I really appreciate you guys and your time. Thank you.
No worries.
I think I'm the same age as your youngest.
Well, look at you.
I just have to say, I really appreciate the energy and how you guys are showing us what several decades of utilizing Shaklee as you have, both in the personal side and the business side, how that looks. It's an encouragement to me. You guys look like you could be my older brother and sister versus possibly being
more
parents.
Lori than me.
Yeah.
So, all that being said, obviously I'm a millennial, and we also have the Gen Zs. I think someone mentioned they may have chatted with you a little bit about how you guys are getting more engagement, or have been getting more engagement with the younger generations. Is there like maybe a top one or two takeaways that you guys find you're having on average with people my age and a little bit younger, as far as like what stands out, what we're looking for, or how you're connecting with them?
Well, do you want to go? You go first. I got an answer right away.
Or us, I should say.
All right. So with younger people, I talk about sports nutrition, because most people your age are working out. I know this because our sons and our daughter are always working out, and so we know that we talk to them about protein and tracking protein. So we start the conversation with there, and then from there we lead to the collagen, because if you mix collagen with our protein, that's 30 grams of protein in one serving right there. And we tell them that if you're really working out, you want to take 2 shakes a day. That's 60 grams. That's 60 grams. That's about more than a third of the way towards your goal of for a man of 150 grams, which I consider the average protein intake. And so we start with that about their nutritional needs. And then we talk about energy, because most guys your age, Ryan, you guys, the millennials, you have 2-3 different jobs. You guys need energy, right? And so we have great products for that too. Now, if they're interested in a side hustle, side gig, I talk to them about our great opportunity. And I just started off with, you know, if you sold $500 of these great products that you're already using, I can show you how you can make $250, $225 to $250 in profit in your pocket on a weekly basis. What do you think of that? Like a side hustle, side gig. And then young people respond to that as well. Now, of course, Shaklee might move too slow because, you know, I know that I'm not on social media enough to teach these things, but I do teach about protein because I do weight training still. And so I meet, you know, let's put it this way. I'm the oldest guy in the gym every time I walk in. That's just facts.
That's awesome. I love that.
So, but I talk to them about still building muscle mass, still building lean muscle mass. They want to get bigger, stronger protein intake. And then we go from there. And then I eventually lead to, if they're interested in the opportunity, because most people, once they get to know you, will say, well, I'm short on cash. I need some extra income. And I explain to them what the extra income they can generate with Shaklee.
Ryan, how long have you been in Shaklee?
My wife and I wish I would have found Shaklee in my 20s too. So I'm right there with you guys. My wife and I stumbled upon Shaklee. It's going on 3 years now. We learned about it through Scott. Unrelated to Shaklee, we actually lived in the Bay Area, and I drove past their headquarters for probably, I don't know, 4 years, 3-4 years, and never knew about them. So that's how close I was and never knew about Shaklee. But that's how we found out about him, through Scott.
Oh, awesome. And do you guys do some type of social media?
Yes, yeah. That's something that I've been chatting with Scott about, as far as creating a very specific, well, just a regular system, as you mentioned before, consistency versus the one-off posts every month. So
you asked us about your generation, and your generation just are very visual. And you gotta show them before they even trust you. You gotta show them what you have, and what you have is, if you're not in social media, your store is practically closed. So you have to be in social media constantly telling them, this is what I do, and this is how I feel, and this is what you can have. So for your generation, that's it. You gotta talk to them through your social media posts. You know, what you do in the morning, what you do in the afternoon. How do you connect your business with your personal life? I mean, show them the lifestyle that you have with Shaklee, and make them want to have the same lifestyle that you have.
That healthy lifestyle.
Right.
And that's what we did back when we were in our 30s. We just talked to other young parents like us, and we talked to them about, you know, what got the story going? Children's nutrition. We would talk to them about what we give our children.
Right.
Because they always saw our children that never got ill, never got sick, never got cramps when they were playing sports. And, you know, we just loaded them up with Shaklee, and it just led to a lot of sales, a lot of clients through people we knew. And so we know that at your age, many people are now already thinking about, oh, you know, I don't want to age. I know this because I hear it from my daughters, right? I don't want to age. And we'd say, well, we got some great products, and our children are all big Shaklee consumers, every single one of them. And I would have to, you know, brag a little bit, you know, my daughters look literally 20 years younger than they are. Our daughter, who's 42 years old, looks like she could still be in college right now. She would pass for a college student today. And so some of you have met her. And so, you know, but it's, once again, that Shaklee lifestyle that I talk about, those 7 pillars of longevity. It doesn't just start when you're in your 70s or 80s. You got to get started like what the age you are, right?
Perfect age.
And you will find like-minded people like yourself. And those are the people that will follow you and join you.
Right.
Fabulous question, Ryan. Good job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, we're coming up on the end of the clock. Is there anybody else that has a dying, burning question right now?
I don't have
Not.
a dying, burning question, but I just want to really, really thank you because
Yes.
I know you're taking time away from your business, from having a good time with each other.
Your
So
funny money.
I appreciate, because time is the most valuable gift you can give. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you very much. We enjoyed that.
And I just want to let you guys know, Aldana, you're absolutely right, because you're taking me away from my beloved Dodgers right now that are playing their
That is
Monday
really,
Night Football.
that's why we started our training on Monday nights, to see how many people will give up Monday Night Football and drive all the way to the mountains and come to meetings. And Shirley Warren was one of those people that trucked from Littleton all the way to South Turkey Creek.
Look at that.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Now see, that's commitment.
Commitment.
That's the commitment I'm talking about you're looking for.
Yes.
But
Well, thank you so
well,
much.
and,
Thank you.
and I'll
Sure.
and I'll remember, I might not remember your names, but I'll remember all your faces when we see each other in Nashville. Come and say hello.
Yes.
Come and talk to us. And we love talking, especially me. I talk to everybody, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that's why Lori thinks I talk to every single person on that ship of 4,000 people on to Alaska. But just like to hear people's stories. To be honest with you, I don't like to share our story with strangers. I want to hear their story. But I just want to close with this. Lori and I, had a wonderful Shaklee life. We look forward to the next 35 years. We really don't want to talk about the past. We want to talk about the future. What are we doing now to help our team grow and thrive for the future?
Is perfectly positioned to have success
right now.
All of you guys can have success, because look at the country is talking about protein and longevity and all of that. That's what the Shaklee has been talking about for years.
Watching what you eat, right? Now we're looking at all the ingredients in our processed foods, all the things that Dr. Shaklee started 70 years ago. He would look at it and say, hey, it took you 70 years to finally listen to me. That's what he would say right now, right? So we are motivated about what's in front of us, and we're still setting goals for the next, 5, 10, 15 years. And so we know that you can do it as well. Set those goals, and really you can do whatever you want to in your Shaklee life.
Perfect ending.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Albert and Lori Ramos, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a
Bye.
great week.
Thank you.
You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week as well.
You.
God bless everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Good night.
See you.